At exactly 2:17 a.m., someone knocked on his cabin door. Out here in the forests of northern Montana, no one knocks at that hour, especially not in the middle of a snowstorm. Dr. Elias Rowan froze. He lived alone. The nearest town was 30 miles away. His clinic had closed months ago after funding cuts. Now he treated the occasional hunter, the rare lost traveler, and mostly, his own regrets. The knock came again. Slow. Heavy. Controlled. Not desperate. Not weak. Controlled. Elias grabbed his old lantern and opened the door just enough to see. And the world stopped making sense. A woman stood there. Tall. Pale. Her dark hair clung to her face, soaked not just with snow, but with blood. Deep slashes marked her shoulder and side. The wounds were precise, not animal. Not random. Her eyes met his. They weren't human. There was something ancient behind them. Focused. Assessing. "I need treatment," she said calmly. No panic. No trembling. Like pain was an inconvenience. Elias should have closed the door. Instead, he stepped aside. Inside, under yellow lantern light, he cleaned the wounds. The injuries were severe, yet she never flinched. Her pulse was steady. Her muscles were unnaturally dense. Old scars traced across her back, battle scars. "You're not from around here," he muttered. A faint, almost amused smile touched her lips. "You have no idea." Outside, far above the storm clouds, something massive moved silently through the sky. Military satellites would later record it. World governments would panic. But inside that small wooden cabin, Dr. Elias Rowan carefully stitched the side of the most feared warrior in the galaxy. Completely unaware of who, or what, was sitting on his table. By morning, the storm had stopped. But the silence felt wrong. Elias hadn't slept. He sat at the small kitchen table, watching her from across the room. She hadn't asked for food. Hadn't asked for water. She simply sat there, back straight, eyes alert, like a soldier in unfamiliar territory. "You should be unconscious with those injuries," Elias said quietly. "I've endured worse," she replied. No arrogance. Just fact. He checked the stitches again. The bleeding had already slowed far beyond normal human limits. Her skin felt warmer now, almost feverish, but her breathing remained perfectly controlled. Then the radio crackled. Elias turned it on. "Unidentified object detected entering upper atmosphere late last night." NORAD officials refusing comment. Residents across Montana reported unusual lights. The signal cut to static. Elias felt his chest tighten. "Did you come with that?" he asked slowly. She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she stood and walked toward the window. Sunlight touched her face, revealing faint geometric markings along her temple, nearly invisible, like living ink beneath the skin. "I did not come," she said at last. "I escaped." The word lingered in the air. Before Elias could respond, a distant rumble shook the ground, not thunder. Too mechanical. Too deliberate. Her eyes sharpened instantly. "They are searching," she said. "For you?" "Yes." Elias swallowed. "Who exactly is searching?" For the first time, something shifted in her expression. Not fear. Calculation. "In your language," she said calmly, "you would call them an empire." Another vibration tremored through the cabin walls. Elias looked at her, really looked at her. The posture. The scars. The composure. "You're not just running from them," he said quietly. Her gaze locked onto his. "No," she replied. "I used to command them." The words didn't feel real. "I used to command them." Elias stared at her, waiting for a smile, a joke, anything that would pull this back into reality. It didn't come. You're saying, you led whatever is up there, he asked carefully. Yes. She said it the same way someone might admit they used to run a company. Calm. Detached. Certain. Another low vibration rolled through the ground, stronger this time. A glass trembled on the kitchen shelf. Elias forced himself to think logically. Shock could do strange things to people. Trauma. Delusion. But satellites. Radio alerts. The timing. It was too aligned. Why escape, he asked. She walked back to the wooden table and sat down slowly, conserving energy. Up close, he could see faint metallic lines beneath her skin near the wound, not implants exactly, something biological, engineered. In my empire, she began, strength is law. Expansion is survival. Conquest is tradition. Her eyes darkened slightly. I believed in that law. I enforced it. Elias felt a chill that had nothing to do with winter. And now? I learned what endless war creates. For a brief second, the smallest crack in her composure, he saw something human. Regret. They wish to continue, she said quietly. I do not. Outside, a distant sonic boom split the sky. Birds erupted from trees. Elias stood. If they find you here, they will not negotiate. The cabin suddenly felt very small. You said you commanded them, Elias said slowly. That makes you what, a general? She met his eyes. In your terms, she said. I am their queen. And somewhere beyond the clouds, a formation of silent vessels adjusted course. Directly toward Montana. The sky turned unnaturally dark by late afternoon. Not clouds. Shadows. Elias stood on the porch, staring upward as faint shapes shimmered high above the atmosphere, massive, triangular silhouettes barely visible against the fading blue. His hands trembled, but not from the cold. Behind him, the queen stepped outside. For the first time, she looked uncertain. They have located me, she said quietly. A deep hum rolled through the valley. Snow drifted from rooftops. The air itself felt charged. Can they see the cabin? Elias asked. Yes. And they're coming down. She nodded once. Elias ran a hand through his hair. Then we call someone. The military. The government. They would not arrive in time, she interrupted. And if they did, your world would become a battlefield. The words hit harder than the tremors. Because of you, he asked. Because of what I represent. Silence stretched between them. You said you don't want war anymore, Elias said carefully. I do not. Then why not tell them that? Her expression hardened, not with anger, but realism. In my empire, mercy is interpreted as weakness. Weakness invites overthrow. Another pulse shook the trees. A beam of pale light flickered briefly in the upper sky, scanning. Elias turned toward her fully now. Then don't go back as their queen. She studied him. Go back as what? She asked. As someone who chose differently. For the first time since she arrived, she looked, conflicted. I cannot promise they will listen, she said. You don't have to promise, Elias replied. You just have to decide. Above them, one of the vessels began descending, slowly, deliberately. The second-to-last move in a game that could end two civilizations. And the final choice was hers. The vessel descended without fire. Without explosions. Just power. Snow spiraled upward as a column of pale light touched the clearing beyond Elias's cabin. The trees bent away from it, groaning under invisible pressure. Elias's heart pounded. This is where I leave, she said softly. You don't have to, he replied. Yes, she did. If I stay, they will tear this world apart to reclaim what they believe is theirs. The hatch of the craft opened, a dark, geometric doorway humming with restrained energy. Figures stood inside, tall and armored, their presence radiating discipline and threat. She stepped forward, then paused. For the first time since that knock at 2:17 a.m., she looked human. You treated me without fear, she said. Without knowing who I was. I treated you because you were hurt, Elias answered. A faint smile touched her lips. That is why your species is dangerous. He frowned. Dangerous? You help before you calculate. Above them, an amplified voice echoed from the vessel, firm, demanding her return. She straightened. The uncertainty vanished. When she spoke again, her voice carried, not loud, but absolute. I will return, she declared, staring into the light. But not to continue conquest. The armored figures shifted. I revoke the expansion decree, she continued. All fleets stand down. Effective immediately. Silence. Heavy. Impossible. Then, slowly, the hum of the descending crafts across the sky began to fade. One by one, the shadows lifted. The scanning light disappeared. The valley grew still. Inside the vessel, figures knelt. Not in defiance. In acknowledgement. She turned back to Elias one final time. You reminded me what strength truly is. Then she stepped into the light. The hatch closed. The sky cleared. And in a quiet cabin in Montana, a former small-town doctor realized he hadn't just saved a life. He had changed the direction of a galaxy.